Hi guys, Pudn here. Welcome back to another episode of Forza Motorsport on my channel. This one is a multi-car race. It's a 16-minute race around Grand Oak Raceway. I'm currently in the Porsche again, the 92 RSR. I will give you some information. Did actually qualify second on the grid. The guy and Paul was I think about half a second faster than me. Anyway, this one's quite interesting because there's actually 18 cars on the track and we're all in different car classes. We've got the C class, the A class, and I'm in the R class with another 5 drivers. So just give you some information on the track, and the track details are as follows. This one is a fictional Grand Oak Raceway 3.05 mile 4.91 kilometer fictional circuit that features a variety of corners including hairpins, sweeping bends, high-speed straights. The track is set in a forest environment with large oak trees lining the circuit. So this one is different in the sense that you actually start at the back because you are in the fastest class. For example, for me it was anyway. I was presumably in the slower class, you start at the front, and you've also got to navigate the other cars because you are quicker than them, which actually made it quite an interesting race. The information on the car, as I've already mentioned previously in a video that I did, this one is the 4 litre natural aspirated F6, 503 brake horsepower, 340 pounds-foot of torque with 461 newton meters. It's a mid-engine rear-wheel drive with a 6-speed transmission, and the value of the weight is 2,740 pounds. So get off to a pretty decent start. The guy I'm chasing is a guy in he's called Mark 87 Aimon, and I did actually notice how quicker that car was than mine, and extremely quick in a straight line. I couldn't keep up with him, as you will find out by watching the race. As I was in that position just to get through the cars, I was actually hoping for him to slow down or make a mistake. I'm just finishing the first lap now and I'm still in first position, but you will notice how much quicker this car is than mine. Mine seems to be pretty competitive in the corners, but is way quicker. The tune he must have had must have been a lot better than mine because it was just ridiculously quick. But quite competitive for myself anyway, because I did actually race this car at Brands Hatch. And you did actually notice in the video there, in the replay in the top right hand corner, he did actually go off onto the grass, and I thought this was an opportunity now to knock in some decent laps and maybe gap him as much as possible. If you look in the top left hand corner, you can actually notice he's currently in 3rd position with a 3-second gap. So cleared the slower traffic, and as I always say, just getting into a nice steady rhythm. As you noticed, just on that last couple of corners I did run a bit wide, so that's cost me a bit of time. I was quite anxious to get round and get into some clear air and just knock in the laps. But if you look again in the top left hand corner, you can see Mark is back up into 2nd position and he's got a 3-second gap. So I was quite confident I could keep that as long as he was struggling with the traffic. But I think once he passes the slower cars, then it's inevitable that he's going to catch me and overtake me. But I was also hoping the pit stops would help me during the race, because I did start on the soft tyres, as you can notice in the bottom right hand corner. I usually start in the medium, and if you look again in the replay in the top right hand corner, you can actually see him catching me. It's down to 2.2. I was just trying my best. I mean, this particular tune I did get from the store, it's a good all-round setup. It's not one basically for longer straights, and this track does actually have them, especially the start-finish line is quite long. The other information on the track was also meant to be challenging for beginners and experienced drivers. The hairpin and the slow corners will require precise braking and throttle control, while the high-speed straights will reward drivers with good drafting and acceleration. And as you can also notice, Mark is catching me now. He's down to 2 seconds. The forest environment on the track also adds to the challenge, as drivers will need to be aware of the trees and other obstacles when racing around the track. Now for me personally, I didn't think that the trees would be an issue. They're not on the track at all. They are in the background behind the stands. If you look to the right and the left of the main stands there, you can see they're not a distraction, but I don't know. Anyway, that's just the information I've got off the internet about the track itself, so I'm not sure. Maybe there's other versions. I think this one we actually raced was the national track, but they do as you know, in Forza they do a lot of variations of the tracks, which is good to see, and does actually have a lot of variety to it, as also, you know, reverse track and night racing. And there you can go now. Mark is basically within 0.4 seconds of me now, and he's up on the inside of me left, and there's nothing really I can do. I can't really block him. You'll notice how quick this car is now, just going past the start finish line. He's already 0.3 away from me now, and you will notice further on into the video he just starts pulling away. I did think he actually wasn't running any assists, because watching a lot of the replays before I did my editing, the car's just constantly fishtailing, sliding. I mean, that's where you're going to get your speed from. I'm not sure if he was using a pad or a wheel, but kudos to him for picking the right car for the track. But I would actually like to give this car a go. It does look a bit of a beast, in my opinion, but does look great fun. Very similar to the 69 T183 was racing in the previous video. A very vicious car, and ferocious it looks like anyway. But don't get me wrong, the Porsche GT3 RSR is still an animal in its own right, and as history does actually dictate, it is a very competitive car. So now we're coming up to, I think this is actually the start of the 4th or the 5th lap. It was actually a 16-minute race, and I was hoping he was going to actually get into the mix with the slower cars to help me catch him up a bit. But looking at the top, you can still see he's still got a 2-second lead. This for me was actually the first time I actually took part in a multi-car race competitively, because these cars now, you know, you do actually have your own tunes. You don't have a stock setup, so it makes it a bit more competitive. I suppose it's very similar to Gran Turismo, where they do have the PI indexes to allow you to a certain what would you say the word was, a certain amount of tuning you can do before the restrictions kick in. So coming up to a couple of back markers now. Not actually sure if that was a class or a C class car. It did look like an old 80s style vehicle. I think it actually did clip him, not maliciously or intentionally, just over aggressive in the corners trying to catch. So into the pits now. My thinking was go for softs and mediums. I wasn't actually sure on how much life you could actually get out of the soft tyres, and maybe you have to swap 2 compounds. It doesn't specifically say that you have to do that, and also it doesn't specifically say you have to pit. I think maybe you do get a penalty if you don't at the end of the race, but I've actually not tried that out. Maybe it's one for the future to see if it can be done. I have watched previous people doing that, but not really took much of an interest on if they actually won the race or not, due to the way the stewards react to, you know, not following the specifics of the race itself. There was also an issue with the replay. It seems to lag out. I don't know if it's a problem with the game itself. What would I say is to synchronize the replay with the main footage. They require a lot of editing and a lot of cutting to make it a bit more seamless. And I'm not, because in my previous video, I don't know if you noticed, maybe the odd few viewers may have said so, but didn't in the comments, that it was actually slightly behind after the pit stop. So I've tried to rectify that with a bit more cutting of the replay, and hopefully to make the video a bit more watchable and a bit more seamless. So as you've just noticed now, I've just come round past a few slower cars in those car groups, Still in 5th position now, and as I said, I've got 5 other cars in the same group as me, pushing for that win. At the moment I'm in 5th position, and I was actually keeping my eye in the bottom left hand corner to see where Mark was. Now if you just look now, you just found out I think he's just come out of the pits, because I've pitted, and he's 3 seconds ahead of me in 4th position. So I knew that I wasn't going to catch this guy. I was basically consolidating 2nd place if everything goes to plan, and I don't make any mistakes by hitting a slower class car or come in contact with a certain part of the track and go off and lose a bit of time. So coming round to the end of this lap, there's a car on the right hand side. That was actually in my car class. Not sure why he was going slow. Maybe he made a mistake. Maybe he just had enough, or maybe didn't put enough fuel in the vehicle, because you know that actually happened to me on a few occasions. So coming round to the end of the last couple of corners, onto the pit straight now, onto the start finish line, sorry. Still in 4th position. We've got Martin HD, he's got a 21-second lead. He's definitely not pitted yet. We've got Packham O'Bellum. I don't think that guy's pitted either, because Mark was way faster than every car in this lobby, and you'll see at the end where you will see the results. You may actually notice his very competitive lap times, which was a lot better than mine. But this track is very free-flowing and very enjoyable to take part in. Not that hard to learn. A lot of opposite cameras, nice turns, nice gradients in the track, very flowing. For a fictional track, I have to say, maybe they should take some advice and maybe build some of these in real life. I think they would make a fantastic venue for people to go and watch these type of events, even just car racing in general, or you know, MotoGP for example. I think it would create a very good atmosphere for those petrol heads. So we're coming around to the last corner again. I've just noticed one of the cars has gone into the pit lane, and if you noticed in the bottom left hand corner it's green, so that's the same colour as me, so they're in the same class as me. There's 2 cars in the pits. I'm back up into 2nd. I got a penalty, not actually sure what that was for, maybe a track limits. That's the only thing I can think of. I don't think it was down to getting in contact with the slower class cars in the lobby. I did make contact in before going into the pits, but that wasn't actually given up by the stewards. So now it's just down to damage limitations. We've got a time limit. It's not down to laps, as I've said previously, so it's just basically just cracking on with the laps, and just hoping that nothing transpires going forward, either cars off the track or there's an incident, because this game doesn't really tell you. You don't actually have like a crew chief giving you information on the deltas and any track issues going forward. That would be a nice thing where they could maybe integrate that into this game. I think that would be a great addition to make this game a bit more realistic, even though it's actually more of an arcade racer, as I've said before, than a simulated racing game. So coming down to the start of the next lap, coming up on a couple of the, I think these are the A-class cars, because they are in blue, but don't quote me on that, because there was, I think we were down as blue, the C-class were orange and the A-class were red, but also there's a confusion with regards to the colours of the names over the cars, due to the fact that if you've got a rented car or you've purchased a car. I think they need to add a bit more information, make it a bit clearer for people to understand what cars are what class than just colours. I was a bit hesitant over that Integra there. I think it was an Integra or an Impreza going a bit wide on that corner. I thought he was going to hit me back quarter, but lucky enough I ended up cutting on the left hand side and didn't get any contact at all, which I was quite happy about. And as always, you can see now Mark is just basically just way off into the distance. I mean, the bottom left hand corner where you can see the track map, you can't actually see him anymore. 12 seconds. is basically he's got to be. I mean, look now, look in the bottom left-hand corner, you can see where he is. If that is actually him, he's maybe 2 or 3 corners ahead of me. He could actually be further. He could actually be on the bottom end section of the track, for all I know. Because this game doesn't really give you any more information apart from the time towards players. It'd be nice to get maybe some more telemetry to show, apart from what you can access through the joypad, which I don't actually use. And maybe it's something that I need to put in the future. Maybe buying some keys to get me some more information, especially on the car as well. But I did find the medium tyres were very competitive. Not competitive as the soft, but definitely a bit more. You could drive the car a bit more aggressively because you know you've got that extra tread on the tyres. Mark's now up to 14 seconds. We've got Mr. Martin HDD. He's about just over 11 seconds behind me, and then we've got Pacamo Bellum. He's in 4th position. I think he was driving the BMW. I think that's what it was. The guy in lead, the Mark, I think he was driving his P1 Porsche. I think it was like one of these old types, classic type Porsches. Very weird looking vehicle. Maybe I can get some information on it and share with you at the end of the video what this car actually is, just to give you a bit more insight to the specifications of the car I was racing against. But I think this is actually coming up onto the last lap now. I think we're coming towards the end of the race. I don't like the way they've decided to do duration races due to time. I'd rather have it laps. But anyway, there you go. That's the end of the race. The car I was racing against was the Porsche 911 GT1 Strazen version. It's a 3.2 litre twin turbo charged F6 with 530 brake horsepower at 600 Newton meters. So you can understand why that car was very competitive. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget, I will put a video up in the corner if you want to watch another one of my videos. Thanks for all your support. Don't forget, if you want to follow my content, you know what to do. Hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.